Welcome to another episode of My Car Shop. Today, we're going to address a subject that was brought up by subscriber JB Mopar, 1971. He suggested a couple of different episodes actually, and I love it when subscribers do that and give me things that I can talk about here on the channel that you guys want to hear about. So today we're going to talk about how to winterize your car, or how to prepare your car for winter. Either one, same subject. But I really appreciate the suggestion, so well, let's just get into it. I'm Mike, and this is My Car Shop.
Working out of a 100-year-old refurbished barn, bringing 35 years of experience to projects considered beyond repair. Vision, creativity, and problem solving are essential tools in this place. Watch as we transform junk into polished metal miracles. This is My Car's Shop.
I've listed out what I think are the important areas to consider for winterization of your car. We're going to start with number one, the fuel system, because as many of you know, I used to be an automotive fuel system engineer in the auto industry, and it's probably one of the areas of cars that I know better than a lot of other areas. Little segue here into fuel right now. I learned this lesson the hard way because I've been out of the automotive industry for a long time, other than working on this stuff, but as far as engineering and fuels and things like that. A lesson I learned the hard way is just how much alcohol they're putting in modern fuels. Let's face it, gasoline today is garbage, and it has about the shelf life of, I don't know what, something very short. I learned this the hard way, actually through some small engines that I have around here. We have a 1970s or 80s Ariens snowblower that we don't use all the time, but we use if the plow truck is broken. And it wouldn't start one year, and so I discovered it wasn't getting fuel. I pulled the carburetor apart, and it was just full of rust. And I thought, well, the thing is 40 years old or whatever, so I guess it's just time to get a new carburetor. So I went online on eBay, found a cheap knockoff carburetor that was rated really well, bolted it on there, no problem. Worked good for a while, worked good for a couple of years. I'll come back to that. So we then, I think the following spring, we got our rototiller out, which we hadn't used in several years, but we wanted to till up some ground, which is probably why you would get your rototiller out. I couldn't get it started. Opened up the gas tank and looked, and the gas tank was just solid rust. And I kept thinking, we never left this outside. How did it rust? Why did it rust? So got that all fixed, and then that fall, might have been a year later, we pulled the snowblower back out to use it, and it wouldn't start again. It didn't have fuel. Discovered the carburetor was full of rust. It was a brand new carburetor. So I started thinking about it more, and looking into it, and it dawned on me it's the alcohol in all of these fuels. So I stopped using pump gas and started using Rec 91 or Rec 89 fuel, which is no alcohol in it, and that's all I use in my small engines. I'm also trying to make sure that cars that are going to be sitting, like the 47 Ford, they get started a lot, but still it does a lot of sitting. Make sure that I put that rec fuel in there because it doesn't have any alcohol. I've actually had some issues with the carburetor on that car because of alcohol-based fuels, and it took me a while to figure out that's what it was. So my recommendation would be, you can use stable, but I don't know how effective that is on these new alcohol-infused, if you will, fuels that are out there today. I would suggest using the rec fuel that has no alcohol in it, particularly if your car is going to be stored for a while. Remember that gasoline doesn't have a very good shelf life anyway. It's certainly not like the gas we had 30 or 40 years ago. And oh my God, I sound like an old fart. Think about your fuel system and be very deliberate in what you're putting in your gas tank. Consider the alcohol and the amount of moisture that will attract and the amount of rust that will bring. It's very corrosive. Okay, that takes fuel off of our list. The next thing is the oil. I'm going to tell you what I recommend. Other people have different opinions, but I don't worry too much about oil when I put the car away. But when I get the car out again in the next spring, it's a good, I start it up, warm it up real good, and that's a good time to change the oil, because especially in a shop like this where there's a lot of condensation, a lot of moisture, certain times of the year you'll come in here and everything is just sweating. That's just the nature of where we live. Your engine is sweating on the inside a lot of times, and there can be a lot of moisture and some rusty surfaces in there. So if you start that engine up, warm it up real good, it helps boil that moisture out, gets the oil circulating around, washes everything down, then drain that old oil out and put fresh oil in right away. That's what I tend to do. Sometimes I don't always do it. That's my suggestion on oil. Tires. This is a bigger issue than people think about. Particularly notice it on the 68 Pro Street GTS. Every spring that car gets flat spots on the tires because of sitting. And what I should do as I say, not as I do, right? What I should do is put that car up on jack stands so those tires don't get flat spots. But I've had other cars that set for a long time, and they also get flat spots on the tires from sitting. So if you can put the car up on jack stands and keep the weight off the tires, your tires will do a little bit of a better job and won't get flat spots. They could potentially permanently get a flat spot from sitting. So keep that in mind with your tires. Electrical. This is something I'm really anal about, because contrary to what a lot of people do, they go through and put all new wiring in their cars, and I don't. I inspect it, but I might use the old wiring harnesses. If you look at Scoops, that's got the original wiring in it. That's a 73. There's no reason to replace the wiring in that car that I can see. It all looks good. It's not brittle. It's not cracking. But as a rule of thumb, if the car is stored in the shop, the battery is always disconnected. Always. There's not, except for this little orange Pinto right, or yellow Solstice right here. Every car in here, the battery's disconnected. I never leave a car in my shop with the battery disconnected, because stuff happens. You can get an electrical fire. One car goes up in flames, puts the building up in flames, and then 5 more cars go up in flames in the shop here because of one silly little electrical problem. So year round, I always disconnect my battery. Usually when I store a car, the battery is left in it and I disconnect it, as I said. Some people like to use a battery tender. Some of the cars I'll actually pull the battery out, and I have a battery, kind of a battery charging station over there next to the workbench underneath the press, that I keep batteries, so that if I need to throw one in a car, if I need to throw a battery in the truck, for example. So electrical, as a rule of thumb, I always disconnect the battery. There's nothing in the shop ever. Scoops is the only car on the property, other than our dailies, that actually has the battery hooked up right now. So that's electrical. Oh, and again, you can use a battery tender to keep your battery up. I know some people that like that. I think Mark uses one on his Vet. I know my drummer's mom has a little Miata, and she puts a battery tender on that for the winter. So exterior. Simple as making sure the car is clean when you put it away, and throw a cover over it. Nothing really more to be done. Just keep it covered so that it doesn't collect dirt and cats don't walk on it and whatever. Interior. Now, in a lot of places this is not an issue, but it definitely is an issue here that I'm constantly fighting. Mice. Mice are a huge problem. I've tried a lot of things, mothballs and Irish Spring soap and glue traps, and the thing that I'm using right now is a combination of glue traps and Grandpa Gus. I think that's what it's called, Grandpa Gus. It's these packets. Let me go get one and show you. My buddy Dave turned me on to these, and they do seem to be effective. We put them in the cars. They have kind of a cinnamon smell. This one actually needs to be replaced. Just put them in the car, along with the glue traps, and between this being a repellent that keeps the mice away, and the glue traps catching any, if they happen to be in there, it's a pretty good way to go. It's the most effective way that I have found to protect the interior from being destroyed by mice, because I certainly have had that issue. I know the GTS has got a hole in the headliner up above the visor where the mice chewed through on that. And that's another tip on your interior, put your sun visors down. I don't know why mice like to get up in there and then chew over the sun visor and put holes in it, but that's usually the first place a headliner gets eaten, is right over those visors. So make sure you put your sun visors down to keep them from eating through your headliner. So I was just finishing this edit on this video, and I went out to mow the lawn, and I was going around in circles and realized I forgot one of the most important things in winterizing your vehicle: coolant. So a good number is about a 50-50 water to coolant mix. You can buy it pre-mixed. I choose to buy it straight and then mix my own. But make sure that the temperature of your coolant on your antifreeze tester thingy, bobby, squeezy, squirty thing is below the temperature, the coldest temperatures you expect to see where you're storing your car. Now in this shop here, it's very rare that it freezes, but I still like to set my antifreeze for cars stored in here way below what it's going to be outside. And remember that if your coolant is good to, let's say, minus 25 degrees or minus 5 degrees or wherever it is you're setting it, that's not where it freezes solid. That's where it starts to slush up. So still, if you live somewhere where the ambient, not the wind chill, but the ambient temperature is going to get down in this range, then I would suggest getting your coolant down around minus 35 or something like that. Better safe than sorry. Nothing worse than freezing a block, cracking a block, blowing out a freeze plug, or, well, just stuff can happen. Other than that, that's about all I have. So fire those questions down there in the comments section. Fire those comments. Let me know what luck you have, what experiences, what things I may have missed. Maybe we'll do another episode more on what to do to get your car out in the spring when spring gets closer here. I don't know. We'll put that on the list and I'll think about that. Something else that occurs to me that I want to talk to you about is the mouse traps that I have in the shop. These are homemade units, and let me get my handheld unit and we will go over here and show you one of these. We have several of these units here in the shop. They need to be reloaded with fresh peanut butter, but how they work is you put peanut butter on the can here all around it. Mice will come up. Some of them have boards, some of them have sticks, but the mice will walk up here, walk across the wire, and get up here, try to get up onto the can to eat the peanut butter. And then this rolls and they fall down in the bottom of the bucket, and no, there's no mice in there. That's old Rancid peanut butter that fell off. And they'll fall down in the bucket. And right now we're not having a problem with mice in the shop, but the weather's starting to change. And these are cheap. I mean, they cost us nothing. We just use some old cat litter buckets. And it's a great way to help deter mice in the shop. When these things are working well, you have to dump that bucket pretty regularly because there'll be a lot of dead mice in there. So it's another way to help protect the shop, keep the mice out of things that you don't want them in. Well, I hope that was helpful and maybe you learned a couple things, and just think about your own vehicles as you're getting ready to put them away for the winter if you live in a part of the country where you have to do that. But maybe even there's some tips there for keeping them in your shop, or other ideas for protecting your shop, whatever. Just some ideas that maybe you hadn't thought of. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, why not? It's free, doesn't cost you anything, and it helps us out a huge amount. But the benefit for you, and this is the most important thing, is, I mean, everybody wants to know what's in it for them, right? The benefit for you is you get notified when our latest episodes come out. We put out episodes every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday right now. We have a lot going on here in the shop. We're going to be finishing up that solstice here soon. There'll be work coming, a couple more episodes coming on that. I've got some paint work I'll be doing to the 47, and I promise I will be back on stitches really soon. Mark and I have been talking. He's coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to spend the day out here kind of pushing the walls back and reorganizing, getting ready to do the shifting around that's going to happen. The Oakland is going to be moving out of its hole, and the Forsyth Duster is going to be going there so we can get started on that project. The Oakland will be there where the solstice is right now, right next to where I was talking. The 47 will be where it is right now behind you, and stitches will be on the rotisserie. So there's just a lot, but I need to get this solstice job done for my friend. Hopefully that'll be done here within a week. Obviously, getting the Oakland running is my top priority. We're so close. We're just waiting on that carburetor, and we'll be good to go on that, hopefully. So I would like to see that car putzing around a little bit. Hopefully, we can get that clutch broke loose. So watch those episodes if you haven't seen it. There's 21 or 22 episodes on the channel on the Oakland from the time we brought it back here to the shop up till right where it is today. All right, that'll do it. Lots of Mopar action coming. Lots more fabrication coming, and I'll continue to turn out these Tech Talk videos for you. Trying to make those our Tuesday focus. So, all right, that'll do it. We'll see you next time. Don't forget, rock on!